Welcome back, guys, gals, and non-binary pals, to another wonderful episode of The Rook and the Rascals, The Fall of New Vesara. I am your wonderful game master, dungeon master, Tyson Fraleigh, and I, of course, have the charm, the wonder, the wonderful players here with us. To start off, she may look like a simple green pseudopod-like plant, but she will eat flies in her spare time. It is Hannah Halcro.
I come from Venus, and I'll trap your flies.
Next up, wait until autumn to be able to take a metal syringe and inject it in his body for some sweet, sweet bodily nectar. It is Adam Honigman.
PSL time, let's go.
I should emphasize that since we are Canadian by nectar, I do mean maple syrup.
Do you get offended anytime you go to another Canadian's home and they have like the fake corn syrup, maple syrup, and not the real stuff? Because it's so easy to get here.
I've never experienced that. You have bad friends.
Next up, they may exist on the bottom of the ocean or nearby lakes. They are technically a weed, but they are delicious if you decide to heat it up. It is Liz Nyveen.
Only hot? I love a cold seaweed salad. Also, you can make like glutinous desserts out of seaweed. They're very like gummy. If you're like a vegan or a forager or something like that. Kind of interesting.
Last but certainly not least, you will find him in the middle of the desert, but be careful as you approach. While his flesh may be tasty, he is very prickly. It is Takeshi Fukushima.
That's me. You know what TF stands for? Not just Takeshi Fukushima, tasty flesh. Hey!
Mr. Tasty Flesh himself.
All right, before we devolve into pure chaos, last time on the Fall of New Vesara, the party successfully defeated a group of 3 mimics that were placed in a bookie's secret underground apartment in a building that was set on fire. You guys were able to explore the rest of the room, be able to find a series of different notes about this bookie's dealings, as well as a lot of the cash that they were using to basically for all sorts of gambling debts and payoffs. You guys were able to then escape from the location after nearly being caught by 2 Vesaran officers. You guys then raced off to Barb's apartment, where you guys hung out for a few hours, setting up what is going to be the next set of your plans. After deciding to work together, went bar hopping, to basically get a concrete alibi for the defendant of Regina, Duncan, but also accused fire starter Duncan Tross. You guys stopped by the Stag and Staff, but were not able to find anything conclusive before stopping by the Purple Lotus. Upon stopping by the Purple Lotus, you were able to get a pretty good suggestion of an alibi from the bartender to help with Duncan's case, while simultaneously encountering Suarez. The Lance successfully knocked out 2 of Suarez's friends immediately before the group of you headed outside to basically question Suarez, where he basically stated, "I don't know what is going on," and seemingly had nothing to do with the fire as far as you all can tell at the moment. But did suggest some things about the Thunderkins, which perked up a few noses at if there is Thunderkin involvement. You guys then decided to go and visit the Thunderkin locale in the morning after getting a night's rest, where Barb and Lance headed back to Barb's apartment, and Gilly and Regina headed in their own directions. And that is where we left off. So, an important question for Gilly and Regina. Where did the 2 of you head off to? Just to your own apartments? Do you head to your workplaces? For you, Gilly, it's a little bit easier because those 2 places are connected.
I would have gone home and like drunkenly fucked around with my clothesline of case supplies, and left the weird bronze coin on the table and looked at that weirdo ring that was left for me with just the note "soon" if anything's going on with that, and then roll into bed.
I probably would have headed home as well and poured myself a nightcap and go to bed as well.
All right. In which case, the next day comes. You guys are able to complete a long rest. As you guys all awake for the day, Regina, what are you planning for the day?
I'm probably at least kind of hungover from last night, so I'm gonna mix myself a prairie oyster with some hair of the dog in it and clean myself up and head over to Barb's.
You head on your way. Gilly, do you suspect that you will be waking up relatively early in the morning?
No. Like noon.
Fair enough. In which case, about 10 a.m. hits as you hear a kung, 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 kung.
It's kind of like yesterday, huh? I find some pants, put them on, and, like, open the door a crack. What?
You look outside where once there had been a very ostentatious red attire, there's now a blue kind of full jumper outfit. Blonde hair pulled into a bun at the back. Almira stands there. Hello?
It's been like 18 hours.
I know. As per our last conversation, I had thought I'd gotten it across that I wanted to be a little bit more active in this case. Check in on how you're doing.
Okay. Give me a sec. Clothes, fully clothes. Draw the curtain, I guess. Is the coin still on the table?
It is not.
I don't have anything to drink, but I'll have some water, I guess. And it's way too early. And open the door and let her in.
Steps inside. Looks around. So I understand that it's relatively short business that has been performed through your day, I'm sure. But I just wanted to get a little bit of the lay of the land. How are things going?
Well, he probably didn't actually do it. He seems kind of like a loser, actually. A lot of people are interested in this case. Do you know why that might be?
No.
And you said you're his cousin, right?
His sister.
Oh, right. Yeah, it's way too early, by the way. You should really learn what business hours are, because this is not them.
I mean, business hours are usually 8 to 5.
Oh, disgusting. What do you want to know? I talked to him. There was a lawyer there. I looked at the crime scene. It was on fire and full of shit. Not much bread.
Fair. Simply put, I just wanted to get an idea. I didn't know how long this was going to take or what other pieces of knowledge could be discovered.
Did Duncan have debts?
Not as far as I'm aware. I can't foresee anyone that he would have debts to.
Did he have any other jobs aside from the construction? Also, what do you do?
Look, I'm trying to keep myself discreet as much as you might find surprising. My husband works in entertainment.
Where does he, when you say entertainment, do you mean like illegal strippers or like illegal casino or like illegal beast fighting?
Nothing illegal of the sort. It's just that I don't want his name caught up in all this. All right?
Does he like Duncan?
They're not the best pals, no.
Did I already ask you where your parents are, if they're alive? If anyone hates them?
My parents, well, they died a long time ago.
Do you and Duncan have both the same, all of them? Are there a lot of you?
It's just me and Duncan. Arguably, it's always just been Duncan. At least in his mind.
Oh?
You've met him. He's a bit of a brat.
He's kind of a putz.
There are worse qualities.
All right, well, are you happy with your update? It's not a lot around on this guy. I'm still trying to figure out. I mean, probably the mob's involved somehow. They tend to be. But don't have a clear picture of why someone would frame him other than that he was conveniently there, in which case it's kind of difficult to get him out of it. Unless you're a illegal circus running husband, like has connections with the cops or with the mobs, or I mean entertainment, probably mob connections there. Not that I care, I truly do not. I'm simply trying to get the lay of the land professionally and do my job.
Truly, I don't. Before you hear tung 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 tung
From the front door?
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me a moment, I'll do the same crack.
Mm-hmm. You poke open the door. As from the doorway, you see a figure standing, like a relatively nice, like beige suit, white was an undershirt with a almost like a blue striped tie that kind of comes up. Very well put together. Very nice, like leather shined shoes. From the doorway, hands behind his back, kind of turned away from you, as you see this silvery, almost luminescent skin that travels around this black hair, kind of basically just pulled back into like the very utility slicked back, with 3 horns growing from the top of the skull, almost making into like a 3-pronged crown at the front. As it turns towards you, you can see this very weathered but gentle face. These light blue eyes, kind of wry smile, as you see a very familiar form of Martin St. Luke.
Fuck no. What do you... No, go away. I'm with a client. Leave. Close the door. Hi, Elvira. Sorry. So, was there anything else? There's not a back way you can go out, but there's someone out there I thought you should know.
That's fine. Is it someone of importance? Just ting 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 ting. Gilly, come on. Ting 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 ting.
No, he's not important at all.
Almira just looks back and forth. I can go.
No, I'm not going to open the door. No, I'm not going to open it. I assess the semi-basement window for possibilities of getting her out that way instead of having to open the door.
The windows are really only like maybe a foot tall and maybe 2 feet wide.
Yeah.
There's a few of them.
Is she skinny?
She, like, relatively, but also just, humanoid size, so...
Alright, we're gonna walk out together.
Sure.
Great. Yeah. I'll make sure the curtain's really drawn so that when we open the door, nothing is, like, visible. Okay, here we go. I squire her and open the door. And my intention is to just, like, walk by and just kind of not just ignore, just go away.
Swing open the door as you see Martin, like, kind of raising up a hand to knock. Like, finally, so, oh, okay. And you start just moving past him. As Almira just closes the door behind the two of you, it's like, you immediately hear the slight click-clack of the shoes behind you. It's like, Gilly, come on. I just want to talk, all right?
No, fuck off.
As you kind of, at which point your leg's just going faster, he has to kind of like half jog behind as Almira is like in the perfect like in between of all of this, as she's just looking behind her, looking over towards you.
I hoof it up the stairs.
I'm gonna say make a dexterity check. You're gonna make a contested dexterity check to see if you can get out the door faster than Martin can catch up with you.
Sure. Is it just straight dexterity?
Straight dexterity.
That's a 6. Almira's slowing me down. I should have thrown her at him.
As you attempt to get up the stairs, suddenly Martin has blocked off the top section as you're ascending before getting between you and the front door. He's just like, What? Come on.
I flare my fins at him. Get out of the way!
Whoa. Hey. I'm just coming by. I just heard you were at my crime scene.
Your crime scene.
Yeah.
What, you own the city now?
No. But you went down to the burnt bakery, right?
Yeah.
Look, I've got some notes from the 2 officers there that were saying that you were there among some friends or whatever. Not inside or anything.
Why are you here?
I wanted to see if you need any information or help or anything.
What? Sorry, I think I'm having a stroke. What did you... Didn't make any sense. Also, this is my client, who shall remain nameless at this time.
See, Almira just nods ahead and you're just kind of standing off to the side, just arms crossed.
You're just gonna stand here and watch this? Go, get out of here.
Oh, I'm not missing the drama for anything.
What? There's no drama. No drama.
No drama
Go
at
away.
all. No, totally not.
You both should leave, actually. Why don't you go leave together and be somewhere else?
I'll say make a persuasion check.
I rolled a natural 1, which is another 6.
Almira doesn't move. You see Martin just puts his hands in his pockets, just... Look, you seem to be doing some work, and I'm not going to bother you for the rest of the day. Write this off, but... Look, it was just strange. I just wanted to check in. But if you're working on a case...
I have lots of cases.
I'm sure you do.
I have cases at the fucking wazoo.
Sure, yeah. Well, if you need any help, just...
I don't need your help. But I will take any information you have about this crime in paper format.
Sure. Goes around, pulls out, was it like a metal case, pops it open, hands over a card. Just contact me when you want.
Really? You know, just like have a file folder on you already.
Sorry.
Does it have like his precinct office or something on it?
Mm-hmm. Precinct office. You also note that it now says lieutenant.
Oh, fuck off. Is there anything... Like, does he look kind of the same? Is there anything noticeably different? Like, is he wearing, like, better clothes?
Oh, he's definitely wearing better clothes since you've met him. I'll say make an insight check. Just to get a better read.
Can I also extend that insight check to Elmira? Because I want to... If it's good, I'd like to kind of get a sense of where she's at watching this.
Sure.
Just insight everybody. I want to insight everyone in this room, including myself.
Okay.
And the superintendent, who's probably eavesdropping, because the hallway echoes.
Okay.
Oh, well, this time, I got a 7.
Very good.
Listen, it's early. It's too early.
Things you can get right now of the total situation, it's pretty awkward. For Almira, she doesn't seem to be giving up anything particular. Just a very subtle amusement at the whole thing. And for Martin, you're looking him over. He looks to be doing pretty good for himself.
Okay, well, if you're done, I'm leaving. I attempt to get around him.
He steps out of your way.
I tuck my fins back. It's civil.
As you and Almira are stepping out through the main doors, you do hear, Gilly.
What am I, your fucking dog?
It's nice to see you.
I do not agree with that statement. Don't come here. And fuck off. And I leave. And I kick rocks outside the building angrily. And drink and stuff.
See, Almira looks over towards you.
Shut up.
Just never really one to witness a lover's tryst.
Oh, God, that is fucking disgusting. That is absolutely... Ugh. Anyway, that was an exciting start to the morning. I'm glad you got to be there. I'm leaving. See you soon.
Until tomorrow.
Fine. Goodbye. I'm just gonna like try and like get away from there. I guess I'll go to Barb's even though I'm allergic to her house. Tired of being observed this morning. Reached the quota.
Lance and Barb, you awake this wonderful morning or afternoon, depending on your situation. What are you two up to?
I'll try to be quiet in the kitchen as I like start preparing a little breakfast.
I believe I am. I wouldn't be under any blankets or anything. I would just be like almost like a vampire almost. I'm just lying just like straight on my back, just upright. I think Lance usually is someone that would wake up quite early, you know. Yeah, you always gotta be looking over your shoulder, but I think this weekend's been tiring and stressful enough that you probably would have slept in just a touch after Barb woke up.
I offer them tea. Oh yeah, sausage is hanging out on the counter, on the kitchen counter. I fed him some sausages.
After probably a good breakfast and being able to wake up and get your, both of your energies up, both Regina and Gilly arrive not too long after each other.
I have black coffee and a breakfast sandwich from a fantasy bodega. This is already a terrible morning, frankly.
What happened to you this morning?
Listen. Shit.
Your personal squabbles don't concern us. We have to deal with the Thunderkin today.
Are we actually seeing them? That's such a bad idea.
You got a better one?
For once, I am in agreement with Gilly.
What do you mean for once? We've known each other for like a day. How do you know? Maybe we agree all the time.
Yeah, and in that day, I've disagreed with you quite a bit.
No, fuck you. We're not disagreeing. We're in total agreement. Lots.
Whatever. Look, Lance, I'm just saying that going up to the Thunderkin, it's tantamount to suicide.
We can beat around the bush all you want, do things the lawful way, but if you want results, then we knock on the front door.
I feel like there's like some guys we could talk to instead of knocking on the front door.
I just don't want to get sniped, man.
So do I know, I might have asked this last session, I forget. Do I have associations with the Thunderkin through my like underground boxing involvement? Like, would I know a guy that works for them?
I'd say make a history check.
Oh, do I get my local knowledge thing?
Because it's the fight rings, yeah, I'll allow that.
8.
8. You definitely know that Thunderkin are associated with the fighting rings in the city. You heard of some people who might be kind of dabbled with it, but you don't know anyone specifically that is absolutely like out and out a Thunderkin like associate.
Well, I'm not involved with these guys at all, but I mean, you lot look like you probably know a person or two. Someone on the lower end of things.
I actually go to a great deal of trouble to avoid attracting that sort of attention. But, I mean, if it's between the mob or the cops, I'll definitely go talk to the mob, so maybe we should go see these fuckers.
Well, we can't do anything on an empty stomach. I fed Lance already. You have the sandwich. Regina, honey, what did you have for breakfast?
You know, I had a glass of wet scrambled eggs with vermouth.
A prairie oyster.
It was awful.
Take a biscuit. I pull like a tin of biscuits out of a cupboard and I like set some on a plate in front of you. I top off your tea. I just start like bustling around.
While Regina's getting the full breakfast treatment, Lance is standing by the doorway, just tapping his foot, his arms crossed, tapping his foot aggressively, just waiting for this to hurry up.
I fed you.
Yeah, well, I had it already. I'm done.
Would you like 1 egg or 2?
No eggs for me. I've had enough eggs this morning.
All right. In which case you are well fed, and head on down to. Well, sorry. Are you guys heading straight to go and meet with the Thunderkins?
I have a question. Where would we do they have like a stronghold or something? Where would we go to attempt that?
Gilly, with your Watcher's Eye ability, you would actually know that the Thunderkins' kind of like home base is at a place known as the Onyx Ungulate Construction Company.
I'm so unfamiliar with construction-related mafias. I don't know what living in a city like that would be like. Okay, before we go, like Barb suits up, like she takes a knife out of her kitchen drawer. Yeah, and of course the tenderizer or whatever I called it. I think it was that. All right, let's get rolling.
In which case, I would like someone to please make an investigation check.
Do we know what area of the city it would be in? Like, just...
I was just gonna say, it is in the sprawl.
Well, I have the Watcher's Eye feat, which lets me... I mean, there's no mechanics written into it, but apparently I can pick out dens of criminal activity.
Oh! You don't even have to roll then.
Okay, no rolls. No rolls, thanks. Thanks, no rolls. I can also find local law people. It's like the heads up map, like in Grand Theft Auto or something like that.
You have a little quest markers in your vision.
Yeah.
The group of you, traveling down into the sprawl, travel for maybe a half an hour, just walking down into the main section. As you are able to find one corner where you can see that basically it's just a massive, like, corner section of a massive section of the mined undercroft that is the sprawl, where you can see that in relatively well put together signage out the main front. It's kind of like a old saloon-esque like typeface in like black emboldened with gold lettering, as it reads the Onyx Ungulate Construction Company, where you can see that there's a large loading bay out the back with a number of people who are beginning to move like just raw materials. There's wood, stone, like just a bunch of people who are just seem to be setting up for the day. You can see that they have a bunch of what look to be arcane power tools that they seem to be getting at the ready. But the main doors are open and available. You see that there's quite a few people who are smoking out the front and are, as you approach, just kind of looking at you a little bit suspicious. But nothing happens aside from that.
So what's the plan here? Go in fists a-blazing?
No. We go in, we ask our inconvenient questions, and we hope we get out.
And then the fists are a-blazing. Yeah, that's what's gonna happen.
You know, maybe, but you'd make a lot of enemies doing that.
Well, I don't think they're gonna welcome us with open arms, is what I'm trying to say.
They might. Who knows who's behind all this? I mean, he's just some kid. It seems like... Not sure this really goes up to the highest levels of the secret dealings of this city.
No, but, and then I pull out, like, a smaller than the normal stack of papers that I have with me, but, like a couple newspaper clippings, like, but consider, and, like, kind of conspiracy mode washes over me. Consider that maybe they are behind all the fires and they're pinning them on this one guy to get out of. And I kind of just keep rambling, in a less and less coherent way. Someone has to stop me before I say anything totally outlandish.
Speaking of which, anyone who is proficient with perception, feel free to make a perception check.
19.
7.
Barb, as you are kind of walking with the rest of the crew up through the doors, you do clock a number, like a pretty large amount of the people that you're seeing out here smoking all have what look to be like the steel studded necklace piece of dog tags. It seems like a lot of people who work here are probably vets.
Sorry, world building. Is there an army here? Like, is there a standing army? Was there a war recently? Was it just the God War?
Make a history check.
Alright, this is much better than the other things I've been rolling today. 16.
Yes, there has been a fairly large conflict. It has been thus far been named the Arcanists' War. It lasted for about 5 years. Large swaths of Bresselwyn, which is the large continent that you guys are, you live in. That's where New Vesara is located. It is located right up against a second nation known as Geltrova. The two of them had been kind of brewing into conflict for a number of years beforehand. However, it led to, up until this point, the most deadly conflict that has existed, predominantly because it was the introduction of arcane-powered weapons. For example, basically into like things like arcane machine guns and lots of very magically inclined warfare, which involved a lot of like sending off like massive gas-powered fireballs off into the enemy's trenches. It was a very, very brutal conflict. Bresselwind did end up coming out on top, but at a very steep cost. It didn't affect New Vesara as much, strictly because New Vesara has a lot of influence and power in of itself. Because it's such a powerful city in its own right, a lot of the people locally weren't required to go out and fight. It was mostly forced on like the people who are living in the countryside. However, some people did fight locally, as well as after the war. A lot of people ended up moving towards New Vesara after the conflict had ended. Barb, you would also have a little bit more of this information, just strictly because a lot of vets were your patrons. Most of them, as of this time, there are some who have absolutely gone on to go into like the local university and into higher up business roles, but a lot of them ended up working into like very much reminiscent of this, like more working class jobs immediately after the war.
I don't recognize anybody here, do I?
You know what? I'll make a luck check.
Last time we asked that, we found Suarez.
It's true. Sadly, you do not. However, as you do step inside, you can see that it goes into what basically looks like just a simple like lobby. Like it looks like the opening to a consultancy kind of office as of this point. You can see that there's a main person who's working the desk. There are a series of chairs. You see that there are a few people who seem to be like waiting to be seen, or like some sort of like just waiting area as of the moment. As you see the woman, like really fiery red hair, like deep tan skin. You can see like almost the fiery coals behind the eyes beginning to burn. She just looks up. Oh, hi there. Are you here for a consultancy meeting? Is there something I can assist you with?
I look at Lance, who is the captain of this field trip.
I will lean into the desk and say, "We're here for business matters."
Do you have a particular file number, an order number? We got a lot.
I just lean in closer.
Oh, you're getting very close, sir.
Business matters.
What I think my companion is attempting to convey is that we had a informal arrangement to have a quick one-on-one with your chief of staff here.
With Oslo, with Mr. Thunderkin?
Exactly. It was a very informal thing, sort of bandied off in a quick lunch the other day.
Make a persuasion check, Regina.
Persuasion, that'll be a dirty 20.
Dirty 20. Okay. She kind of rolls her eyes. I'll see what I can do, but I can't promise anything. Pushes herself up and begins to head down a hallway on the right-hand side.
Are we in like a waiting room area? Are there chairs?
Yep.
Okay. I'd like to sit down. But before I do, like kind of loudly put my weapon/walking stick thing down. It kind of echoes, and then I like make old lady noises while I sit down, like, ugh, yeah, like just being really obnoxious and not caring that other people are sharing the space with me.
Are we waiting for her to get back, or are we sneaking in?
I don't know if there's any need to sneak around if we don't have to just yet.
Not the worst plan. Could be setting up. We don't know what she's informing them of. Although not that we have a reputation yet here.
Are there other staff people, like security style individuals around?
There's some.
Is there a free snack bar?
Not free, sadly.
Are they, like, available for grabbing, though?
It is currently behind the main desk.
I mean, I'd lean over the desk and get some snacks.
I'll say make a quick perception check.
Oh. 10.
You go up towards the desk, as you do notice that there do seem to be... they're not exactly conspicuous, but it seems to be two workers who are kind of set up on one corner of the room who are both just eyeing you. You can see that they have like full like equipment and tools set up and slung up across their body.
I'm really suspicious of these tools, by the way.
Oh yes. No, these are this is some very fancy stuff.
Fucking Arcana tech. I'll just post up by the desk like I meant to stand there the whole time.
About maybe 2-3 minutes pass before you can see the woman working the front desk comes back out and he is willing to see you now, but you're going to have to make it very quick. He's got a lunch meeting set up. It kind of looks down at a pocket watch. Within the hour.
It's loads of time.
Of course, not to worry. And I would like to flip her a gold piece.
Takes it out of the air. Looks at it. Which point she looks at you, Regina, and gives like a slight curtsy. Thank you very much.
Do we just tip office workers in this world? Just people that are doing their jobs, you just tip them?
You do when they work for the mob, I guess.
I mean, hey, we don't know if we're gonna need like a favor from her in the future. Best to keep the wheels greased.
I guarantee she took that gold and completely forgot everything about you and our group immediately after that. I think there's no loyalty there from giving her that piece.
Let's jingle down the hallway.
Jingle, jingle, jingle.
Yes. Is it one of those really echoey office hallways?
Kind of.
It must be so loud. Like a suit of armor, chainmail, Barb's stick, and Regina's heels, I guess.
I didn't hear Barb's stick at first.
Oh, hello.
Listen, what Barb's got going on, she got going on.
Yeah, to be clear, Barb has the biggest dick of any of us.
Obvious.
Oh, yes.
You guys walk down to the end of the hall. We can see that there's a simple door set up, as you can immediately just see smoke drifting out from the door.
Nudge the door open with my foot.
Swing the door open. As you see in the room, is relatively large. It's a 20 foot by 20 foot room, where you can see that there's 2 chairs set in front. The best way I could describe it is it's still like 1920s, 30s aspect to it, but there's just a slight bit of the 70s. There's like wood paneling that's done here and there. It's still hardwood floors, but it's a massive oak desk set in front, where you can see sitting behind it is about a figure close to about 8.5 feet tall, who's sitting in a very nice seat, kind of leather upholstered, with what looks to be a large white horn that protrudes out of the front of the face, deep gray, cracked, broken skin, and what looks to be a slightly disheveled suit on, as you see about this 8-foot rhinoceros humanoid sitting there, cracked horn in bits and pieces, as he just kind of leans back. So you're the 4 fuck nuggets who decided to make themselves known here, huh?
Yeah, fuck nuggets present.
From the side of the desk pulls out really slightly larger than usual cigar that's still massively smoking.
Well, what does it smell like in here?
Rhino and cigars.
Yeah, it smells like slightly of BO, dust, and like burnt, just in general.
Is there a spot in the ceiling above his desk that's just like darker than the rest of the ceiling?
Pretty much.
Gonna put my hands over the slits in my neck.
Come on. Have a seat.
I'll climb up onto one of the seats, which I assume are rhino-sized and not fairy-sized.
They're not fairy-sized, but they are humanoid-sized.
Well, fuck, I'll sit down.
As you all sit down or stand, so he looks over you all, kind of stopping at you, Barbara. Sorry, you look familiar.
Can't say I've had the pleasure. I'm like leaning on the chair, on the back of the chair. The flirtatiousness of that is up left to the reader to decide.
Flicks the cigar. All right, so I'm told that apparently there's some business that you want done.
We're not here looking for favors. We're just here to talk.
Talk about what?
Been a rash of burnings and arsons, some light casualties across town recently. We've all been affected in some way, and some strings seem to be tugging back towards your direction.
That's so.
We don't want trouble, just want an understanding.
You ever heard of Tross?
No.
As a kid, they booked for all them arsons they got did.
Ah, that's right. I was reading that in the paper. Seems like that should be your big concern.
Well, we've been looking into Tross, and we simply don't think he's got the, how do you say, moxie to pull off a series of crimes like this. We've been digging into the most recent case. It was a bakery, and we believe that the bakery may have had some sort of ties to a certain gambling, certain bookie business, which we think may in turn have been loosely connected to your enterprises. We were just wondering if perhaps you could shed any light on who might want to harm any of your business ventures.
I can't think of a single person or reason.
Let me make one thing clear here. Our casualties seem to be aligned for this very one specific moment right here. So we, out of our own interests and the good grace of our own hearts, are going to try and put a stop to this for our own reasons. So if there's anything you can provide us with that will help us, we are willing to do this on our own behalf, but you need to play ball with us. Or else someone who is a little bit more qualified than, as you put it, for fuck nuggets may be poking around and may not be as inviting as we are.
Make a persuasion or intimidation check.
It's gonna be 6.
He just very slowly begins to stand up, hands kind of flat on the table. You see, what I'm trying to figure out. You say that there's a lot of people who are orbiting around me that seem to be causing this mischief. But I don't see what any of this has to do with me or my business. And I don't like the tone you're taking with me, boy.
What I believe my colleagues are attempting to convey is that the bookie we found in the burnt-out ruins of the bakery, that was definitely not a bar, certainly seemed to have living connection that believed they could become perhaps legitimized through a connection to your own business. Now, whether or not you knew about them or had any sort of interest in allying yourself with such criminal activities, extra-legal, that's not any of our concern. Your affairs are your own. We are simply attempting to ascertain the facts of the matter. We know, or at least we suspect, that Duncan Tross is not actually the arsonist who set all of these fires and killed all of these people, but if he's not, and we don't actually have this night scorcher, as the publications insist on calling them, then there is a threat to all of our institutions wandering around the streets of New Vesara. And I think as concerned citizens of this fair city, it behooves all of us to provide any information or assistance that any of us can give in catching this masked criminal.
Make a persuasion check at advantage.
Tyson, just out of curiosity, can I inspire myself?
Yeah?
I would like to inspire myself in this
Uh-oh.
moment. That'll be an 18.
18. Okay. Looks down at you. Kind of looks you over. You talk like a lawyer.
Regina, Corinth. I'm a practicing lawyer with Mr. Aratosh.
Ah, Aratosh. That's good enough for me. Cops fucking hate defense lawyers. So, apparently there was a problem with a bookie. Got a name?
Suarez Alvear.
Ah, I remember him. Didn't, much talk to him, because, to be quite honest, didn't much like him.
Fair.
So what, you just wanted to ask me about him?
Yes, essentially, we're simply trying to figure out whose line of sight he might have fallen into.
Look, if you're asking about some sort of burned building, I don't know what to tell you. That Alvear kid seems like a little bit of a shithead, but I didn't do anything about that. But who knows? Maybe he pissed off someone else and decided they wanted to burn it down for some fucking reason. I don't know.
Like Roden Laskin.
I will admit that's a name I do know a little better than Alvear.
Who is he?
Well, you see, what you're asking me now is a breaking of professional values. If you're asking more information about one of my associates, well, that is a very mighty ask.
Like I said, the fact that we know those names means you should be concerned already. Our interests just so happen to line amongst yours, whether you know it or not.
Well, then how about we prove that? Interestingly enough, I've been looking for some enterprising individuals. Make it a proper deal. Fitting for our situation. You help me, I help you. Easy as that.
What task do you have in mind?
I require a group of people to retrieve something for me. Apparently, a few days back, there was a unfortunate break-in at the Museum of Esoteric Histories. Apparently, a series of items were stolen, and truly, bottom of my heart, seeing those kinds of things vanish up into the night, taken from underneath people's noses, terrible. But I did hear that from a friend of a friend, really, it might just be more of a ghost story, that something was left behind that, if found, could be quite incriminating.
So it's a cover-up.
If you want to be so drab about it, yeah.
What's the item?
Well, as per the security system, there's a, Sorry, I'm laughing because in the grand scheme of things, it's quite funny. Their security system has resulted in a few injuries, I'm told. They've got top-notch stuff up there, especially when you got the money, which resulted in one of the, at least from what I hear, one of the thieves lost a finger.
We have to go find a guy's finger?
Was it the middle finger? Did they leave a big fuck you on the floor of the museum?
Well, let's just say that wasn't exactly a fuck you, but the finger did have a ring on it that, if found, would make it very easy for authorities to track down who did this. Bit of a family heirloom, you could say.
What's the ring look like and where can we find it?
We know it's within one place. We don't know where precisely within this location. We know it's within the museum. And we know it's in the main vault. We don't know where inside.
In the vault?
What kind of fuck up is that?
As far as I'm aware, a bit of a last minute, tried to snag something and whoop! That's what happens when people get greedy.
I can say my vault breaking experience is certainly at a beginning.
Based on the look of you. Seems you'll learn quick. At least I hope.
What is your exact ask? Go in, raid the vault, get the ring, return, that's it?
Go in, find the finger, make sure the ring is still attached, bring it back.
We're under the impression that they kept the finger intact with the ring and didn't just remove the ring from the finger and dispose of the finger, because why would you keep a finger around?
We're under the impression they haven't found it yet.
Which probably means it's in some little nook and cranny somewhere, but...
What does it look like? I imagine it'll be the only severed finger with a ring on it, but just to be sure.
Just in case someone tampered with it before we got there.
The ring is gold-plated. It's circular, and it's got what looks to be like... basically what looks to be a triangle set into the center.
Does that seem familiar at all?
Make a history check.
I'm not going to roll the die that only does 6. This one does 3.
No idea.
So if we were to do this, then what? We'd be friends?
Well, I mean, it'd be a great sign of good faith. And also, make it way more amenable for me to investigate Mr. Laskin, as you've described. Figure out exactly what's going on with his behavior.
So you're not going to ask your own questions, regardless?
I've got a few questions that I'm sure I'd be happy to get across to him. If he's going on his own to do some dirty business, I do need to be aware of such things.
We'll need the infiltration plan your last colleague utilized, or else we'll just be poking around the entire institute, and nobody wants that.
I can give you the general notes.
Wait, are we robbing a vault now?
We're collecting biohazard materials. We're really doing them a favor.
Is the museum closed because of all the thefts that allegedly occurred?
I was knocked out for a few days, but they're back up and kicking. However, I mean, if hypothetically speaking, some other people were to go in, if there's anything else you want to pick up, why not? Worst comes to worst, you just lose a finger.
Regina, you want to rob a museum?
We're not really robbing it. We're kind of just going there to get something that someone forgot. We could be janitors. We should dress up like janitors.
If we do retrieve this particular ring, how do we know that you're going to keep up your end of the bargain?
Reputation is a very important thing to me, Miss Corinth. That's all that really anyone lives off of. When I give my word, I give my soul.
Would I be able to make an insight check on that?
Sure, make an insight check.
That'll be a 15.
There's a honest intensity that strikes you with this. For all of the shit that the Thunderkins get up to, you can't call them disloyal.
Tyson, in terms of like the global reputation of New Vesara, do these magic users, wizards and stuff, are they considered like good people, or are they just like stuffy, highbrow? Like, is there some sort of like hidden darkness here that...
Make a history check.
Oh, wizards are war criminals? Gandalf, no!
I mean, if a wizard is doing war crimes, are they really a wizard? Like,
I got a 4.
With a 4, just baseline reputation that you understand. Like, there's definitely a certain level of elitism, because you need money to be able to go to schools to learn this sort of thing. There is also a little bit of a perception of, like, a disinterested cruelty.
Okay, so on a personal level, there's not major moral qualms if we decide to roughhouse in this place a little bit.
yeah, I mean, fuck wizards. But I don't necessarily want to ingratiate myself to...
No, but I'm saying if we run out with, you know, an extra painting or two, or we topple over a Gandalf statue or something,
a
then
priceless vase.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lose much sleep over it.
Let me be very clear here. A lot, it is a museum controlled by a very powerful city. More than likely, most of the things there are already stolen.
I am completely in favor of fucking over some wizards, because fuck those guys, hate wizards. Hate wizards, hate artificers, both horrible. But then we're associated with Oslo Thunderkin, which, you know.
We don't have Thunderkin rings.
So, got ourselves a deal.
Let's say we'll consider it, and if we come back with a finger, you know we said yes.
If you happen to come back with such a miraculous item, I'll make sure that you have Laskin within the hour. Enjoy yourselves for the rest of your day, and if I see you later, a pleasure. If not, well, go fuck yourselves.
Oh, wait, can we get the info on the previous break-in, like the general notes?
I'll say he throws over like a leather satchel, which looks to have like a tube on the inside. basically with what you would suspect would like hold maps or scrolls or something. You guys are able to walk out of the building, arrive back outside. What would you like to do?
So take a deep breath. That was, I mean, surprisingly less lethal than I expected.
Yeah, he's a businessman. So, we don't necessarily have a time limit on this, but also the longer we wait, the more likely that they'll find the finger.
What, we should take a look at the tube, the stuff in the tube.
We could go to my office. If we're gonna fuck over some magic mics.
Are they strippers now, too? That'd be so cool if all wizards were strippers.
All wizards are war criminals and strippers.
Whichever staff you want to hold.
Oh, they hold staffs.
You guys head back to Gilly's apartment / office.
When we turn the corner towards the front door of the building, I'm just gonna like be looking around in case there's anyone lurking to ambush me again for the 3rd time today.
Make a perception check.
13.
Hey, it's not a 6.
You look around. No. Doesn't seem to be anybody.
Alright. Oh, I think I forgot to lock the door this morning. Oh well.
Paper strewn on the floor.
No, it looked like that before, actually.
Okay.
Everyone else is concerned that Gilly has had a break-in.
No, it just looks like this.
Like, oh no. Looks like the plot keeps getting thicker.
No, this is normal.
You live like this?
Look, they left piles of moldy food on your counter.
No, that's mine.
I don't mean to, but I do kind of start puttering around, just gently hiding.
Don't you dare. Sit down. Don't touch my shit.
Oh my god, they killed your pet dog.
No, that's just a rug.
Oh,
Let's spread the shit on the table and look at it.
is there room on the table?
It's actually, it's not a high quality table, but it has a decently large surface.
Oh, I mean, like, is there other shit on the table?
No, the table actually stays clear because I need it for working. And that's where I take clients. It's in the office part. So, like, the way the room is set up, like, the corner by the front door is, like, curtained off. And beyond that curtained area is, like, the disaster zone. But when the curtain is drawn, it's, like, a little bit neater. So that's where the table is. And chairs.
It doesn't block out the stink, though. The stink hits everywhere.
My house does not stink more than any subterranean aquatic dwelling does. It's musty, and there's kind of a little bit of a mildew smell, but that wasn't me. That's just the building.
Oh, that's lovely.
I actually smell salty. Like a breeze, like an ocean breeze.
Alright, what do our tubes say?
Open up the tube. You look inside, and you can see that there is a general schematics map that has been laid out, where basically the construction of the building is that it is basically a large cylinder that goes up 3 floors and goes down 2. Each floor has its own designated kind of focus. The base floor is focused in what might be considered quote-unquote natural magics. So basically it ties in a little bit into the history as well, where it's like natural magics, like here's like versions that like ancient druids used to do, and like different druids continue to do from like separate cultures, and a lot of druidic and like earth faith based magics. The second part starts to go into much more arcane and arcano-magics, like very common in like the day-to-day life, like how certain things were being developed. Very much like a museum where you go and it's like a telephone, and it's like the telephone was invented by Alexander Graham Bell, and like I don't know because I'm a bad history student. So it's very much focused in arcanotech and a lot of like practical aspects. The top floor is considered its quote-unquote specialty, or a little bit more of the unique aspect. That it's more the location everyone wants to visit, which is more focused in occult magics, which they deem basically anything that has to do with religion. Any kind of like old divine magics are located up in this room. How you travel up to this room is that there's a large staircase that goes all the way down between all 5 floors. However, there are also teleporters that exist in corners of the room that will teleport you to different floors. As per the notes you're seeing, the 2 floors below the building are off limits. There is the first one, which is just basically just seems to be just a regular basement floor. It also contains some offices and general administration locations, and then below that is the like the significant used for storage, specifically of specialty items, and also the main vault.
Okay, and where is it that we're theoretically trying to get to?
The bottom floor.
So the building itself is publicly accessible. Like, it's like a museum and a college. Like, you can theoretically walk in the front door.
Yes, during opening hours, absolutely. There are a few different entry points into the building. There are a number of exterior windows that you could attempt to open and try to get through. Also through the main doors, there are also back doors for emergency exits that could potentially be knocked or unlocked. There is discussion about there has to be some way to, like, a relatively large access way to get into the basement. However, this seemingly was not determined properly. They weren't able to figure out what exactly access port people are able to deliver, like, basically anything that is going into storage. There should be a relatively large access path to be able to get even bigger items, so that way they can eventually put them up into the main floors. However, they don't know where it is or what it is.
Do we have any sense of the magical protections that can cause us strife?
There is an emergency system that is built like an alarm system that triggers to the nearby precinct. There are also a variety of different protective measures that for some specialty items cause immediate teleportation of the object to a more secure location. There are also talks of, in certain locations, what are like a variety of tripwires or other like basics, just traps that are kind of set up across. Most of them are specifically for keeping people away from artifacts. It's a lot of teleportation magics. And as such, you also do see that the notes previous to this had discussed ways of getting inside, and the way that they decided is that they hired on a different arcanist to teleport them into the bottom second floor. They bypassed everything. However, when they teleported in, they didn't arrive in the second floor. Instead, they were bamfed. They were all scattered across the building, and then had to then slowly try and make their way from the basement floor into the second basement.
Did they all get out, minus the finger, or?
It is noted that they all did get out, yes.
Okay, so did they get what they were there to achieve, or did the moment that they screwed up, they just bolted?
It seems that they got most of what they were looking for.
So do we have the guy that lost the finger? Do we have a sense on where that was?
Yes, that was in the basement second floor, inside the main vault.
Okay, within the vault itself. Okay, so we just have to get into the vault.
So it seems like magic isn't going to help us much anyway, so it's good because we don't have a ton of that.
Do we know what is locking the vault? Is it like a magical lock? Is it just a number lock? Like, what is it?
I'll say make an intelligence check.
My brain don't work too good. I got a 5.
5. It says things.
I mean, anything that they made use of from this dossier, we may possibly presume has been changed since the first break-in. So, the layout is good. Otherwise, we might just need to see what's happening. We could case the joint.
Yeah, I guess we could just go to the museum. Field trip, yeah.
That might not be a bad idea.
Not that I'm necessarily a fan of ingratiating myself to mob bosses. But hey, seems to have worked out for Regina.
Alright. Once again, disagreements.
In which case, You guys take the journey, travel across the city, traveling northeast as you arrive at the corner district known as the Magnus Ward. There's a relatively significant change in both style, air, and just general feeling as you guys enter into this section of the city. People are very finely dressed, typically in different kinds of very, like not exactly flamboyant, but more flamboyant than the usual wear, where it's like long, like cloaks, like royal color coats, gold and silver fletchings that kind of go here and there. It has a certain level of an air of aristocracy, as you could say. As you guys travel through, you can see that you guys would pass by the university, which getting to this side of the city looks a little bit more odd than the rest of the city, where the rest of the city was basically built somewhat on top of the old city the old flying city. This section looks like it's been much more tampered with and shifted around, where different materials and metals could be bent and twisted into different shapes. Also just a little bit more elegant stonecraft built out of like massive craters that used to exist in it, making it much more elegant, but also a little bit just a little weird in certain aspects. Eventually you pass by the university, which is a very beautiful looking structure, multiple floors, large campus kind of set out. You guys arrive at the museum, this large 3-story structure, at least from the outside of that can be perceived as of the moment. You also do notice that there's a fair amount of people out and around looking around the place, as well as seemingly in the interior. You do see a large collection seem to be set up in the inside.
Head on in.
Walk inside, you can see that the interior on the first floor is very, well, I mean, as per the whole museum, the interior is a very beautiful looking structure, massive stonework. At least on this floor, it looks like vines and ivy that's beginning to kind of crawl up the sides. What seem to be 4 different archways leading into different exhibits further into the actual structure. And there's also a set of stairs that spin and curve, seeming to lead to more floors. The typical booth that is located where the basically where the ticket sellers would usually be, you can see that has been temporarily moved aside, where there's a small standing platform that's been set with a few people and what looks to be some sort of microphone set in the center, where you can see that there's a group of people, all seem to be, a variety of different ages, but predominantly seem to all be wearing these very beautiful attire.
Is there signage about like what this event is?
Not as of the moment. However, you do see standing like off to the right hand side, off to your guys' right hand side, but on the left side of the stage, there seems to be some like cylindrical, tall, like it almost looks like a cone, with a large red blanket or sheet covering it.
And like the people standing around are like they're waiting for something to happen, kind of thing.
Basically, as one of the figures on the stage does step forward to the microphone. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to a very important meeting that we are setting up here for today. See, monocled older gentleman, somewhat balding on the top of the head, but this brown salt and pepper hair around the sides. We have some very important news to be able to give to the general public starting today. We are still in search of the numerous famous artifacts that had yet to be announced here, including the Golden Idol from the vast Isles of Nor. We are eagerly awaiting the local police's news and updates about such, and if anyone here sees any of these artifacts, we will provide images near the end of our presentation here. If anyone knows anything about them, there is a hefty reward that we will be setting up along with the local police in order to help incite things along, as it were. However, we do want to notify the general public that security here is being taken very seriously. And we need to, as per this situation, we have taken it upon ourselves to determine that this is a sign of the times, as it were, and we need to keep up to date. Therefore, we are happy to announce, goes over to the silo structure, a new, you could call protective services, and pulls down the sheet as you see a glass silo with what looks to be on the inside a skeletal, almost golden headed, it almost looks like a large humanoid sparrow robot. You see its head down, arms kind of pulled into its chest as the glass silo kind of opens up in a series of pieces as it cocks its head up, and you can see this blue shining light on the interior of its skull. You see the crowd generally gasp and kind of grab out to one another. The speaker at the front, don't worry, it's fine, it's completely safe. As you see the structure straightens its back and walks out into the space. You see the arms go down to the sides as you see the hands are basically what just looks to be 4 long claws that are set on either side of its body as you watch as the arms split into 3 different almost spider-like appendages as it stands up and starts looking around. This is the Arcanocasm. We are very happy to be working on the part of the local artificers at the University of New Vesara to have developed this wonderful beast of security monitoring. They will be set up across the museum, and I promise you that they are the most safe automatons on the market. These beasts of arcane technology, upon detecting an infraction of any sort, the Arcanocasm is specifically designed in order to detect anyone performing an infraction or any dangerous situations that may put others in danger and respond accordingly. For those who might be able to guess, this device is specifically built, at least this edition, to hold on to individuals until the proper authorities arrive if they have decided to become violent or sticky fingers, as you could say. As you see the large automaton's ribcage opens before clasping together. However, with that being said, the Arcanocasm is built for numerous situations, and therefore can adapt to any. Therefore, if there are young children running around, parents, have no fear. It is as gentle as it is terrifying. To the right people. We simply want to inform everyone that this is one of numerous new additional security measures that have been installed here at the museum. We want to ensure that your safety is put at the highest priority, as well as the safety of the artifacts that we store here. Thank you all so much. Please take a look at these artistic renderings. We have taken some time to determine some of the items that were taken. If you know anything about these items and the thefts, please let the local police know as soon as possible. Thank you all so much, and please enjoy yourselves at today's exhibits. And that is where we will leave it off for this week. As we're signing off for the day, is there anything that people would like to plug?
I'm gonna plug going to sleep. And swords.
Well, in that case, I will plug the great all-ages fantasy podcast, October Jones and Fish with Legs, featuring a snarky teenager and an enthusiastic mystical creature as they go off in search of magic and adventures and trying to save the world from a evil two-headed snake, half of which I play. You can find it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you find good podcasts. And you can find both the show and more features at octoberandfish.ca.
Speaking of content, I'm going to talk about my newest interest, which is The Mole, which is a reality game competition show. There's a new season on Netflix now, which it got rebooted. So the basic concept of The Mole is there's about a dozen contestants or so that they're trying to win in competitions to put money into a pot, and then whoever is the last person standing at the end of the competition wins the pot. But there's one person who's not there to win, but is there to sabotage, who's the mole. And so the whole concept of the show is they're trying to win while also trying to figure out who the mole is. That person is... There's just one mole, and that person's actively working against the rest of the team. Well, so the way the game works, they don't vote each other off. Basically, you have to, at the end of each episode, you have to take a quiz based on facts about who you think the mole is, and whoever has the least amount of information right leaves. So you could be really shit at the game, but if you're paying attention, then you can keep moving on. Which it's basically structured that way so that the mole can't be voted off, basically. So Netflix just rebooted it. I very much enjoyed it. There's 6 seasons of the American show. Anderson Cooper hosted the first 2 seasons for some reason. I know, and this season's hosted by Alex Wagner, who I'm not familiar with, but she's another journalist on like CNBC or something. So I guess they just figure that journalists are good at this. But also I've heard that it's based off a Belgian show and a Dutch show, which have been going for the last 20 years nonstop, and you can find them all subtitled on YouTube, and apparently they're awesome. I haven't engaged with them. So if you just want an easy entry, Netflix is the way to go, but if you want higher... I've heard that this Netflix season is like the lowest quality of all of the seasons that have been done, and I really enjoyed it, so yeah, the Moleverse. And there's an Australian season also. So if this is the lowest it can go, and it only goes up from here, I'm very excited to check out the other seasons. So check out The Mole.
I had a delightful experience at a thrift store today. I bought a very nice wool coat for like not too much money. It's mustard yellow. I'm so excited to wear it. So shout out to, I'm gonna plug wool clothing because it's really warm and actually quite sustainable, and it's a good time.
Well, with all of that being said, thank you so much for listening to The Rook and the Rascal. If you like this series, then make sure to check out our previous series, Montreal by Night and Those Damn Kids. They're available on Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on YouTube at Three Kings Loot. Get all of your board game news from thebagofloot.com and all your board game needs from threekingsloot.com. Thank you so much for listening. We'll catch you next time.